What's going on, guys? Camye here, or Camby, riding the Camber Elite by Specialized. Price point on that's around $2,000, I believe. Had a few rides on this bike. Overall, I think the bike did well. Biggest complaint by far is the RackShock Recon fork on the front. Long story short, it makes a good bike look bad. The rear suspension works great. It's very active. It does a good job. The rear on this bike responds 2 to 3 times faster than the front. And just referring back to the fork, you can get into a ride garden or a rocky section, and you're climbing a ride garden per se. You will hit a rock, and the fork itself does not respond in time to get out of that ride garden promptly or correctly. So it's pretty much hindering your ride through some technical rocky sections. Huge negative. Again, you know, the price point is $2,000, so you kind of get what you pay for. Being in sales, if I were going to sell this bike, I would recommend to somebody to get this bike and consider an upgrade on the fork later, and or save and get the expert model where you have a much nicer fork. That being said, the overall performance of the bike was great. You're going to be hard pressed to find a better performing bike itself in that $2,000 range. It climbed well, it descended well, and it cornered well, aside of the fork not performing well. You kind of had to put that aside and say to yourself, how did the bike overall perform? And overall, it did a very good job. So that being said, I would give it 2 thumbs up. Other than the fork, you know, Specialized might want to reconsider that, or talk to RackShock and see if they can, you know, work out the kinks on that. Other than that, I was happy with the bike itself. I think it's going to hit a target audience. You know, somebody, a good rider, or somebody who can't afford, you know, that $4,000 or $5,000 bike, or somebody just getting started in riding. You know, you've got 2 issues with that. One, somebody just getting started with riding is not going to necessarily notice the performance or lack thereof on the fork, and or somebody that's a great rider and not necessarily can't afford a nice high-end bike is certainly going to notice that fork a lot quicker. That's going to be the target audience, I think. I think it's going to do well for somebody that wants to have a good all-around bike. One that's going to, you know, not 110% cross-country race ready, but it's a good cross-country bike. At the same time, you can take it down some gnar, and the bike's going to perform well. Overall, I think it performed quite well. It cornered surprisingly well, I thought. You know, like most 29ers, you know, it's going to be a little slow on the very steep climbs, but if you're on a long, steady climb, you know, with not a huge incline, it's going to do quite well.